Hi, my name is Kristen Houston and my business is Well Balanced. If you follow any of my videos, you see that I am very passionate about connecting our body and our trauma and spirituality all together for healing. And I want to tell a story of how my journey actually began when I worked with a woman back when I was the director at the sanctuary, and she came to me for a stretch. At this time, I was a new therapist, and I really didn't know the power that the body and emotions held in our healing. And she came to me, and her son had passed away from a tragic death 5 years earlier to the time that I had decided to work with her, or she had decided to work with me. And so she said, I'm ready for a stretch. And she goes, I just really have concrete hips. And I said, well, one thing I do know, as a new therapist, is that our hips hold a lot of emotion. And she's like, well, honey, my hips are lock solid. I have been through a lot of trauma. And I said, I understand. I said, so let's see, and she had signed up for an 1.5-hour stretch. And I had just started on her legs, and I was stretching her legs, and I was just talking to her. We were just talking normal. And all I had gotten to were her legs and releasing tension that I was a new therapist. At the time, I thought, well, I'm just helping her body come back into wholeness. I didn't even really dial into the emotional component that happens with fascial release. So she started to feel these tingling feelings up her arm. And she said, Kristen, my arm feels paralyzed. And I said, that's interesting. I said, I know that the fascial tissue holds emotion, but I said, well, just breathe through it. And then all of a sudden, she said, my lips feel as if a bee stung me. And I looked at her lips, and they were pure white, and they were white, like not only the lips were white, but around the lips were white. And I said, are you okay? She goes, I feel like all this emotion's coming up out of my body, and I don't know what to say. She goes, I can't talk about it. She goes, it was a really pretty overwhelming for her. And I said, do you want me to call 911? She said, no, I just know that it's just stuck emotion. And I said, yes, it is. And it really brought to my awareness the power of the body and how the body helps protect us, or it thinks it's protecting us during times of trauma and stress, where it packs it into the tissue. But if it's not released, it will eventually cause physical illness in many ways. And again, just my new awareness at this moment, I had been taught that at my training, but I didn't ever see it. I hadn't seen it in true practice. So I said, okay, breathe through it. You're okay. Just breathe. Allow the emotions to come out. Just breathe. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to. Just relax. So I started saying very calming words to her. Intuitively, I just knew what to do to calm her down. She started breathing, and about 20 minutes after breathing and just relaxing and allowing the feelings to come out instead of pushing them back down, she goes, wow, that was powerful. I said, yes, I've heard that our fascial tissue holds memory. I go, but you're my first person to really, I see it. And it brought to my awareness of the power of the body again. She went home. She actually then had some pretty intense days. She would describe them as anxiety attacks. She was supposed to go on a trip after this, after our stretch, the next couple of days, she was getting ready to go on a trip. And the emotions were so intense that she couldn't. She came back to me afterwards, and she said, Kristen, what I realized is how much I keep in my body and how much my body is taking the brunt of the emotions I won't let myself process right now. She said, I actually had a panic attack after I had seen you. It made me realize that the next time we work together, I am going to set up my counselor right after working with you. I'll go see my counselor like the next day and process the emotions that come out. I said, that's a great idea. And so since then, my eyes were like bing, wide open to just how the body keeps our score of our trauma. And so that really started my journey of really being aware and starting to tell people, hey, we're here to just stretch you. You're just asking for a stretch, but I'm going to tell you this is bigger than you'll realize. And if you have any past emotion or trauma, which we all do, you might feel some sadness after or during the stretch. You might feel memories rush in. You might feel sadness a couple days after. You might just feel some nauseousness, anything that your body needs to process and get rid of. It can also be the toxins in our tissue. Just be aware that that's what you'll experience. And so I start to tell people, anyone who comes to me, this is what you might experience. And time after time after time again, they'll come back to me and say, yes, I did have that. Or I say, call me anytime. Call me if you're feeling overwhelmed by the emotion coming out, because I want to walk through it with you. And so quite often I'll get a call like, I can't stop crying, or I just feel some dark days. And I said, yes, that's super normal. This is actually, I'm teaching people now. I'm 4.5 years into my practice, and I'm teaching people how to process their emotion, how to truly just allow those emotions to come out and to present themselves. And a great little tagline I teach people is just to say, that's interesting. Or I notice that I'm feeling anxiety, or I notice that I'm feeling a little sadness today, or I notice that I'm remembering some past trauma. I say, don't write a story. Let's allow the feelings to come out, and let's start to walk into the newness that is before us. If we constantly fear and live in the past and relive that trauma over and over and over again in our mind, it's as if our body is going through it every single day. Every single day we dial into the trauma that happened in our past, our body relives it and it stays stuck. Now it's super tricky. So how do you allow emotions to come out? And how do you allow them to present themselves without tagging it to the trauma that you went through in the past? And that is a great question. So I often tell my clients, just be aware that it'll be coming, and have your tagline. That's interesting. I'm feeling that. I'm noticing. Watch it like a movie. Allow it. Breathe through it. Don't shove it in. Give yourself space. If you need to take a day off, or you need to take a moment off from whatever you're doing to process and feel it, and honor that we are emotional beings, and that our emotions actually do help us in so many ways dial into what we truly want in our lives. And so as we learn to heal, we start to say, those emotions of anxiety and fear, they're here to teach us something, but I don't need to hold on to them. I'm going to allow them to teach me and pass through. What I do want is wisdom, and what I do want is strength and courage, and what I do want is willingness and acceptance that I am in this place in life. And what I do want is to move forward eventually, and to honor where you're at, and to honor the emotions that come out, and just know that you're like a prism. The light comes into the prism. The light is the light is beautiful, right? And we have light come into a prism, and the prism shines all the colors. Not one color is right or wrong. That's us. Our emotions, our events in life come into us, and then we shine all these emotions of how we're trying to process it. Honor those emotions, feel them, give thanks to them and gratitude for them, for what they are teaching you, because you are fully human, but you also are fully spirit. And so we are this being as body, mind, and spirit, and we aren't just one aspect of ourselves. We're not just in the physical world. We're not just in the emotional world, and we're not just in the spiritual world. We really are human. We're all together at one in this time and space. So I hope that helps you to open up your eyes on a different way of healing that I feel is a must. I feel truly in my heart that we need to get the physical emotions out of our body in order to walk into the wholeness and newness that we are designed to be, all we can be. Thank you, and have a great day.